Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Golden Goal Fantasy Football Podcast. This episode, we're going to be covering Sky Fantasy Football Gameweek 31. And as always, I'm joined by Sam. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. A better week in fantasy this week. So, yeah, sort of always sets the precedent for a better pod, doesn't it? If you've had an all right week.
Yeah, same here, pal. I've made a couple of good transfers this week, which doesn't usually happen to me. So, yeah, a few people have probably seen me gloating on Twitter about Saka and Thiago Silva,
Yeah.
but you got to gloat when you can, haven't you?
Yeah, take the rough with the smooth, highs with the lows. Absolutely.
Let's have a quick look at how I got on then, first of all. So I can't remember exactly what my rank was last week, but I think it began with an 8. And Custard Cream FC is now 671st overall, so I gained about 200 places. And yeah, in the week I made three transfers. So probably, yeah, that's what you'd expect for a 200 rank gain, I suppose. I took Nick Pope out for Dubravka. I'm just going to check who I brought Thiago Silva in for. But yeah, Nick Pope made way for Dubravka. Yeah, I saw we had I think it was a 5-for-1 fixture gain. And Dubravka's got the captaincy against Everton coming up as well. And yeah, I just fancied him really. And obviously Chelsea absolutely mauled Burnley. I think Nick Pope ended up on minus points in the end. And yeah, while they didn't keep a clean sheet, Dubravka still got himself a saves bonus. So yeah, I'll take his points. I brought in Thiago Silva and Saka as well. Yeah, Saka came in for Bowen for me. I needed a midfielder, and it felt like the right move to make. And yeah, he did really well against Watford, so really happy with that. 14 points, goal, man of the match, assist. Rest of my team, I got Cancelo, Laporte, Trent, and Kilman. Yeah, Cancelo, Laporte, and Trent all doing bits. Laporte with just a passing bonus. Trent with a clean sheet, assist, and some passing. And then Kilman, I'm a bit disappointed with Kilman, to be honest. He doesn't seem to be playing all that well either. So I'm a bit concerned that he won't start on Thursday.
There's concerns over him, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's concerns over his family welfare. Is there something to do with? Yeah.
So yeah, I don't confess to know too much about him, but I understand his
Yeah.
mum is Ukrainian, so I think he probably got some family over there. So yeah, condolences to him for what's going on over there. But yeah, so just wait and see whether he plays on Thursday, really. Because to be quite honest, I'd like an excuse to get rid of him because those defender spots are really valuable at the moment, aren't they? And it'd be lovely to swap him for a Rudiger if I had the opportunity to. Yeah, rest of my team, I got Rafinha. He's just well, he got another blank, but I think with his fixtures coming up, quite a few people are actually going to be transferring him in, so I'm very happy to leave him. Ward-Prowse, yeah, no reason to get rid of him. He's just continually getting a bit of passing bonus every game. And then Salah and Harry Kane. Really pleased with my Harry Kane transfer and decisions to captain him when I have. He's really been on it the last couple of games, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, mate. I've had him for a few weeks now. So, yeah. And then you had your Saka move, mate, didn't you?
I
Your
was very
glory
happy.
move.
Shaka's for Saka. Yeah, I was really happy with that. And to be honest, I can't confess to have watched Arsenal that closely this season, but he looked properly awesome in that game. Like, really good. So I'd be very glad to keep him for the rest of the season, really, considering his fixtures.
It's got more consistent, and they're playing some nice football. They've got some really good young attacking players. So yeah, it was a good shout, mate. Because you mentioned, well, we talked about him a few weeks ago though, on Sky or on Fantasy. I can't remember which one. And yeah, he's looking a real player. It's great for England as well. Seems like a lovely lad as well. So it's like, some players are just dislike, but Saka's one you just can't dislike. And seeing him playing well is great. It was a belting goal.
Yeah. And for the rest of this week, I want to bring in an extra Chelsea defender. But really, I'm waiting and seeing on the lineups on the Thursday as to what I do. I've got Cancelo stuck in my team. He's apparently got COVID, so whether he plays that single against Palace next week, no one knows. I've got Laporte as cover for that, so it may well be that Cancelo can make way for Rudiger. But if Kilman doesn't play, then I'll probably want to get rid of him. I'll probably bring in Jacob Ramsey into the midfield and then get Rudiger in for Kilman. So lots to think about next week, but can't really make any decisions until you see the teams, really.
No, it sort of feels like it's that sort of time where quite a few moves are getting made and you've got to have a few in the bank because just a little turnover of thought processes and fixtures and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's just that time. We'll probably go quiet again on it a little bit for a bit of time, unless there's an injury or whatever, or something else kicks up. But it just feels like with the Chelsea fixtures as they are, just a good chance to jump on them. Although I've got a few concerns with Chelsea, as we'll probably discuss later.
Yeah, and like I said, I brought in Thiago Silva. I feel like it was a bit of a risk, but I just felt I wanted to go a bit different from Rudiger. I know they both got 10 points last week, but on there, obviously they got not Wolves, they got Norwich tomorrow. I'd actually, just on a single game, I'd personally fancy Thiago Silva as a captain over Rudiger. So I'm going to captain Silva tomorrow and hope for a bit of a swing in terms of points, really. Maybe Silva gets a goal or more passes than Rudiger does and gets me some extra points.
Yeah, it's just banking on him starting, isn't it? That's the big one. He's 37. I mean, but you'd think he'd be able to. You'd think you might play him against Norwich and maybe rest him at the weekend, because you're thinking it's almost going to be. I mean, no games are strolled in the park in the Premier League, but it kind of would be for Thiago Silva. He's in that sort of Van Dijk-esque aura, isn't he? Where he could probably just sort of Rolls Royce his way through that game. 105, 110 passes, 2-3-0 victory, and then job done, stick him on the bench at the weekend or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I don't really have much more to say on my team, really. I'm happy to. I got yours on screen now, mate. If you want to talk us through it.
So I went a little bit ham on some moves, but also didn't really think. Well, I did think, but I think I was trying to get out the door to take dogs out and kind of, yeah, it just sort of. I'd been on the fantasy football hub all morning looking at the fixture ticker and possible 2s, 3s, 4s, 5-for-1s and all that. But I was trying to do both my teams and got in a little bit of a muddle and ended up sort of making an extra move or two that I didn't really want to make, but then sort of forced into it. So first one was Pope to Sarr, which actually I didn't want to do, but I ended up having to do it because I accidentally took Kilman out. I wanted to leave Kilman, but maybe now that's not such a problem. Actually, some of these moves that I've done, with a little bit of the news, absolute more luck than judgment, might actually have paid off. So, yeah, I did Pope to Sarr. What did he get? He got a little 4-pointer. I mean, I was disappointed to see him concede.
They've been doing that a bit, haven't they,
solid,
Wolves? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm happy to leave him. He covers, I think, does he cover a couple of single match days potentially?
Yeah, they got a
And
single
just
against Leeds and Newcastle, and you'd fancy Sarr as the best Wolves player for those games, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I'll take 4 point even on a conceded game, no problem for his price. Trent, yeah, same as you, mate. Delighted to have kept Trent, and a nice 13-pointer. Just good to get back at the kind of get the numbers back up against some of the Van Dijk owners that have been getting all the luck. Yeah, I brought Rudiger and Thiago Silva in, and I can only presume for. So this is where I made a bit of an error. I took Cancelo out. I say error, but it might still pay off. I took Cancelo out on the premise of maybe 3 or 4 Chelsea games over Man City. I think it was 3 over 1, but 3 really nice ones. So I just took a bit of a punt and then punted on Gabriel being the captain against Watford on the Sunday, which, live by the sword, die by the sword sort of thing. That could have gone really well. Had it been Arsenal a couple of weeks ago, it probably would have been passing and a clean. But Gabriel just fucking failed, basically. 1-pointer.
Oh, really? Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, and I got him as the 2-point captain on the Sunday. So it's a little bit frustrating there when Cancelo gets 7. But then maybe Cancelo has COVID. So that's we'll see next Monday. But yeah, 10 points from Rudiger and for Silva. Totally happy to have them for now. We'll decide what to do with that Man City single next Monday. I've got half a thought process on Kevin De Bruyne anyway. But yeah, I'll decide nearer the time. I'll look at the lineup and maybe formulate a bit of a plan. Coutinho, yeah, mate, I've had him for a few weeks, came up trumps, 16-pointer. I don't know if you saw the highlights, but it looked like he could have had double that. I saw it tweeted by someone and then actually watched the match of the day and was like, he did haul, but he could have almost doubled his scoreline. He's had so many little chances and through balls that could have been converted to goals. So nice haul. And yeah, nice and lovely fixture coming up next. So happy with him. I brought Willock in for, can't remember who I brought him in for, but I basically brought Willock and Mount in for Bowen and Gallagher on the premise of volume of fixtures. I was very close to bringing Havertz in. I brought Havertz in on Fan Team and just went with Mount on Sky for I don't know why, maybe just to cover it off. And
Yeah, fair
uh,
enough.
yeah, I mean he had a hat trick against Norwich, didn't he, earlier in the season, and
Exactly.
Havertz didn't score. So I've got Mount for Norwich away tomorrow. So let's see what that brings. Willock just for volume of fixtures, and he covers a captaincy off, doesn't he? Blank, but happy to hold for now, nice and cheap. And then, yeah, Salah, Broja, and the haul from Kane there up the top, which, this is Sky at the moment, isn't it? 17-point haul and didn't budge at all. I know sometimes the obvious captaincy just keeps you at rank, but it's like there was obviously a few options, Son, and all these other things, but it doesn't move you. It's it is a little bit frustrating. You expect it on Salah, but because Kane's had such a indifferent season, I thought, oh, maybe we'll get a bit more movement, but no movement at all. And actually, I've not, for all those moves, mate, I've not moved rank. I jumped up on Saturday and then dropped back down on Sunday. However, I've obviously got some Chelsea weapons for tomorrow
Yeah,
night.
exactly.
So should there be a
Yeah.
couple of cleans and a Mason Mount return if he plays, then I'll probably be back up again. So yeah, that's kind of me. I'm not having a fabulous season, hence why I'm happy to have a little bit of a play with my side and just do a few risks. I think I was where I was last season. Now I'll be certainly thinking about it, or I'm thinking about it, but I'll be much more reluctant to make any kind of loose moves, maverick moves.
So I'm conscious this is actually going to go out before the games on Thursday. I haven't actually covered for those fixtures on the images that I've got here, but who are you planning to captain tomorrow? Are you going to go for Mount and be a bit different, or just stick it on one of
No.
those Chelsea defenders?
Yeah, there's no way I'm going to stick it on Mount. I'll just let Mount be a differential in himself just for the points. I'll go either Silva or Rudiger. I think like you, if I see Silva starting, I'll stick the armband on Silva.
Yeah.
He pops up with a goal, doesn't he? That's what I'm banking on. That's what I'm dreaming of. Little header, 100 plus passes,
Yep.
Man of the match.
It'd be
What's
lovely,
that?
wouldn't it?
That's a 10, 16, 19-point haul.
And I don't know, just in my head, Thiago Silva is a bit more of a man of the match sort of darling than Rudiger is as well, right? He's got so much hype around, well, and rightly so, right? He's been awesome, Silva, but yeah, he just feels like, sort of the Kane level of man of the match hype, doesn't it?
When Kane comes up in the chat, and I always chime in and it's Kane man of the match. It really is.
Yeah.
All Kane has to do is score one goal. I know he's been playing well, but he just doesn't need much. And there you go, Kane 3 points. It's such a pull to have Harry. That's why Kane to me appeals so much more over Son, because he's just such man of the match material.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know if he was the best player on the park that night, but I knew he was going to get it the minute he scored the goal. Anyway, yeah, I think Chelsea make that night. And if Silva doesn't start, I'll go Rudiger, if Rudiger starts.
Nice one. I just got the fixtures for the game week on my screen at the moment. So looking at Saturday, the 12th of March, got 3 games. Brighton at home to Liverpool, Brentford at home to Burnley, and then Man United at home to Spurs. I mean, as always, whenever Liverpool play, I captain Salah, so I'll be on Salah. But judging by how bad Man United have been recently, I wouldn't want to talk anyone out of captaining Harry Kane in that game, because, I don't know, the last time this fixture happened, right, Spurs won 6-1. So, yeah, this could be, there could be anything on Saturday for Spurs, really.
Yeah, this could be punt. This could be a punt day, I think, if you're looking to just take a risk, which would probably be me. So here we go then. So Brighton haven't been fantastic defensively recently. They've been leaking quite a few goals. But Salah and Mane and Jota haven't been what I would deem, they were, half decent against Leeds, but that was Bielsa's second or final game, wasn't it? Where they were just second to final game, just being woeful at the back. So you almost can't count that. But
how many pens did he score in that game as well? Did he have a couple of penalties as well?
2, he had 2 pens. So I'm not entirely convinced on the Liverpool front line, especially when they played last night and then they're 12:30 on the on the Saturday. Brighton at home. It's just a tough fixture. Was it 1-1 last season?
Hmm.
I think I can't. Yeah, it was 1-1. I think on a 12:30 Saturday morning kickoff. So I don't know. I think when you see the team sheet, have a look at Brighton's team sheet. If they're looking pretty depleted, should just stick it on Salah. But yeah, Harry Kane is a tempter there. He just hasn't been consistent enough for me, and that's why maybe deep down he just doesn't warrant it. And yeah, so potentially
No, yeah,
at the moment Salah, Tom. But I know you'll probably do a Spaces Saturday morning, and you'll talk us all into Veghorst or something versus Brentford, won't you?
yeah. I wouldn't. To be honest, yeah, yeah. This is the one game I'm a bit nervous for not owning Nick Pope because it just feels like the kind of game you could get like the 15-pointer where he gets clean sheet, saves bonus, man of the match. That's the kind of game that Nick Pope could hurt me on. So yeah, I'm hoping Brentford score. I'm going to turn into a Brentford fan on Saturday.
Yeah, you'll be on the poll actually now, won't you? In replacement for
Well,
Dan
we'll
at the
see. I don't
moment.
know. I think that was just a one-time thing, but yeah, we'll see.
Oh, was it? Yeah. Yeah, so it's gonna. I think Salah will be most popular owned and captained, but yeah, there's a shout for Kane there, isn't there? Kane or Son.
And yeah, Sunday the 13th. So it's it's a really interesting day with the kick-off time. So we've got 5 games that all kick off at 2 o'clock. So there are more fixtures on. Yeah, it's mad. There are more fixtures on Sunday than there are on Saturday. But yeah, so we got West Ham at home to Villa, Southampton at home to Watford, Leeds at home to Norwich, Everton, Wolves, Chelsea, Newcastle, and Arsenal, Leicester. I think for me, I'll probably just be on a Chelsea defender. I've got Saka, Rafinha, Ward-Prowse, but yeah, I think Chelsea defender for me. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'll look to see which Chelsea defender starts. I think Newcastle could score though. They've been pretty good recently.
Yeah,
Like every time I see Newcastle's name, like on this, for example, I just go to default, which is they're shit. But they're not shit at the moment, are they? They've been much better. So yeah, I think it will be because of the other options. It will be that Chelsea defender, and just hope they pick up passing at
yeah,
least
exactly. Yeah.
as a minimum.
And you see the team, right? So, yeah, it'd be another Thiago Silva captain for me if he plays, for example. But, yeah, we get the luxury of the team. So, yeah, I think quite a few managers are in a bit of a dilemma about it, and it's probably what some of our questions are based on as well. But Monday the 14th, we got Palace and City in a single game day. I think most of the game is sat on Cancelo, who may or may not play this game. I mean, it's suspected he's got COVID. We're on, Wednesday now? I think the news came out yesterday. So to be honest, I think it's entirely probable that with the new variant in no self-isolation, etc., I think it's entirely probable we could play that Monday, to be honest. But obviously there's a risk that he won't. So I think, yeah, a few people have been a bit bothered for this game. And to be honest, like I said, with my transfers, I've got Laporte and Cancelo. I think it all hinges on what the teams are tomorrow for me, but yeah, I don't really know what to do for this day at the moment because I don't know what my team looks like. It'll either be Laporte or Cancelo, whoever I decide to keep.
Yeah, well, I've got no one, so I'm going to wait to the day and then see what happens. The only problem is with that is that they've got Palace, then they've got a bit of a gap, haven't they? And then like a few teams play quite a few games in between when they next play. Just looking like I suppose Liverpool have only got one. Chelsea, I don't know. I'll have a look at it. I'll break it down in a minute. But there's a couple of teams that have got some more games in between. So, but then again, on the flip side of that, Man City asset just to leave in there is perfectly fine, isn't it?
Exactly.
Everyone's in that boat. So, I might be tempted for KDB, mate.
I was just about to say I really like that idea. He's looked absolutely awesome, hasn't he? And I think, yeah, in Sky, I think his last game against United, he got a 20-plus pointer, didn't he? So he's obviously capable of getting all the bonus as well. Yeah, don't hate De Bruyne as a shout at all.
Yeah, exactly. So if he's starting, I'm tempted.
I'm just going to have a look at his recent games a second. All right, so yeah, he's picked up a couple of bonus, and then yeah, against Man United, he got a 23-pointer. If you hit a 23-pointer captain, you'd be smashing it, and he's only 5% owned at the moment as well. So
yeah, exactly.
Right, Wednesday 16th, we got Brighton at home to Spurs, and then Arsenal at home to Liverpool. And by the looks of the timing of the kickoffs, we only get 15 minutes with the Liverpool team to decide who our captain is. But yeah, we get to see both the team sheets. I'll probably go Salah again. But this is another one where I think Kane is a perfectly decent option on this day as well to go a bit different.
Yeah, again, it's exactly the same scenario that's come up on the Saturday, isn't it? It's just see what happens in the previous game, see if Brighton's still looking leaky, and Spurs can just be so Spursy. That's just always my default. Spurs are going to be Spursy.
I don't know.
So
Brighton's play style also strikes me as a team that Spurs may struggle against because they love keeping the ball. They got three centre backs. Yeah, I think Brighton could give Spurs a good game in that one personally.
yeah, I mean, I'll judge that one on the day, but I would again if I saw Salah on the team sheet. Yeah, Liverpool usually. I know it's at the Emirates, but usually, yeah, they'll usually play quite well against Arsenal. So I would fancy Salah for that.
And then the final one of the week, Thursday, 17th of March, we got Everton at home to Newcastle. Yeah, I'm a proud Dubravka owner, so I'll be captaining him and hoping for an absolute mega haul with a penalty save, man of the match, saves bonus, clean sheet, you name it. He'll be getting it on Thursday.
Let's hope, mate. I mean, if there's anyone you could get it against, it would be the Everton. They're not very good, are they?
Oh, they were so bad against Spurs. I think quite half of the championship could have beaten Everton on that night. To be completely honest, they were so bad. So yeah,
I'll be on Willock. I'll take a 5-pointer that night. That'd be fine by me. I wouldn't be rushing to get any Everton players. I've seen talk of fixture volume, and I know they have high fixture volume, but there's just no one that I wouldn't, literally no one that I'd want point blank. Whereas Newcastle, there's a couple of players you might look to. Willock, Ryan Fraser, Dubravka.
It may well be obviously that St. Maximan's in the team for that game as well, and then he's a one game punt in a chain as well, isn't he? If you want to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, hopefully that helped with some of the fixtures there. I pulled off a little stat from FF stuff just to show the best value players over the last 10 game weeks. So yeah, this is from game week 20 to 30, and then I've just set a filter of players that have played a minimum of 5 games, just as about an average. And this is just a view of the best value players in the game over the last few weeks, really. A player that's gone under the radar, really, just because I think there's so many goalkeepers, but Alisson is top of that at the moment. He's been playing absolutely wonderfully, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's the same in FPL. He's super high in that for like defender and goalkeeper stats. Yeah, mate, he has. He's been like the difference maker for Liverpool quite a few games actually, like making those couple of saves, which then lends to getting some saves bonus, and then just the amount of clean sheets that we've been picking up as a result of that as well. It's just he's had he had an assist as well the other day, didn't he, against Norwich? So that's obviously going to help. But he's a great pick. He really is. It would be a set and forget. But as you said, there's so many good value goalkeepers at the moment that are useful for captaincies and other players out on the field that it just seems like no one really goes for him because, as I said, it just doesn't fit in with team structure.
Obviously, in second place, we got our man Saka. I think, going in because they got a single against Villa, haven't they? I think going into that day, he'll become maybe even 50% owned in the top 1K for that day. So I'm glad I got on him when he wasn't so well owned. And quite go on, mate.
No, great pick, mate. Great pick.
And then third and fourth we got Matip, who surprises me. I guess he's just been playing consistently, hasn't he, in the Prem? So as a result, has got the points. I'm not sure. I don't know. He's a really good price, to be fair, for a Liverpool defender, but I'm just not sure you'd want to go for him because he just plays Konate in the odd game, doesn't he? When the opposition has a physical centre forward or something, he tends to pick Konate, doesn't he? That seems to be the trend.
Yeah, it seems to be pace, like Antonio, prime example. It seems to be that sort of type of player. He did it against United earlier in the season as well. Not that we want to bring memories up of that one for you, Tom, but did the same. That was his first. The other thing with Matip is he has been so injury prone. So you just feel like he's a transfer out waiting to happen the minute you bring him in. But he sort of tempts you, like you said, because he's that 8.4 Liverpool defender, can get an assist, can get a goal. passing bonus. He's got a few routes to points, but he can be dropped at any game and then hamstring and then out for like 10 games or whatever. So yeah, I guess there's better options.
It's the same. Oh, I just noticed Jacob Ramsey. He's a player that I'm almost regretting not buying it over Hall. Really, I think I should have just sent it on him and got him in because he's just so cheap.
Yeah.
And even if he gets like 2 points for 4 or 5 weeks in a row, and then he's just worth it, isn't he? For 5.8 million, and he fills one of those midfielder spots as well. And you can just set and forget. And the only other player I wanted to mention was Adam Webster. I think he's not. I don't know. We spoke in a previous podcast about players. The history of players affecting your decisions in the present day. So like Thiago Silva getting an injury last season, for example, and everyone's saying they'd never go near him again. But for me, with Adam Webster, I genuinely don't think I'll be picking him again because he just gets injured all the time, and then Graham Potter seems to cover it up.
He's done us over twice, hasn't he? There's been 2 there. Yeah, he covered it up on that last one really late, and so no one knew until the game was about to kick off.
Yeah, he just wasn't in the team.
Or just before kickoff, he just wasn't in the team, and then he missed the game after as well. So he's awesome for 7 million. Oh, he's like 5-point magnet, isn't he? As a minimum, but yeah, injury prone and also manager cover up's not a good combo for a Sky manager, is it?
No, exactly. But yeah, I won't go through them all because I'll probably bore you with that. But yeah, on your screen, that's the players total basically the best value players over the last 10 game weeks that have played at least 5 games. I think I set the filter at. So yeah, hopefully a useful stat to look at. I'll move on to the questions, and we've got bloody loads of questions. So thank you everyone for sending your questions in. Really, really appreciate it. So yeah, I'll just get stuck straight in. So question number 1, we got one from Gordon Bell. So he says he has Broja after an unsuccessful captaincy and the blank v Villa. Is he best to cut his losses and buy Thiago Silva, or should he keep him for the Newcastle game and then move off? So yeah, he's saying there's no fixture game, but it's basically Broja against Silva across 1 week. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I've just pulled the 2 up and compared them, and Southampton have got Newcastle, Watford, Leeds, and Chelsea as the next 4, and then Chelsea have got Norwich, Newcastle, Brentford, Southampton. Personally, I would, if all was being equal, which is the big problem here, is all that being equal, I would go Thiago Silva, but I just don't think he plays all 4. It would be viable. I think looking at those fixtures that Chelsea have got, he could get between 30 and 40 points if he played all those games. Broja isn't going to get that, I don't think. But how many do you think he plays? He plays one of the next 2, Thiago Silva. That's my thinking. And then probably, depending on Champions League and stuff, probably one of the 2 on the other ones, maybe. So 2 out the next 4. I mean, what do you think, Tom? You seem to think do you think he might play a bit more than that?
I think, yeah, my opinion, I think he'll play the 2 games in the Prem coming up and he'll rest him for the Champions League. That's my personal opinion. Because I don't think Chelsea have I don't know, it's just my opinion. I don't think Chelsea have a priority competition at the moment. So I think he'll play Thiago Silva until he gets fatigued and then he'll just get a rest. I don't think he'll prioritise a competition as such.
I think Liam Dorian made a really good point earlier. Once they've got 3rd spot nailed down in the Premier League, and if they're still in the Champions League,
that's very fair.
Tuchel will go into Kepa Arrizabalaga mode where he'll play in goal, and I don't know, I might end up at centre back for Chelsea and all that sort of stuff. So, which we all got screwed over with last year, didn't we? Like, I think I had Mendy or whatever, or Azpilicueta, and didn't even just single game days towards the end of last season.
Didn't play, yeah.
It was v Brighton, I remember it just didn't play. Kepa and all these, so that to be aware of. However, at the moment, I think he's still, like you've just said, he's still kind of going for it. So if it's a short period of time and you think Thiago Silva's nailed, I would make that move, wouldn't you? Broja hasn't been pulling down trees.
No, it's just I just say it depends who else he's got on his team. I think Broja at his value, unless it's like a team structure thing, right? Because I guess if he can move Broja to Silva, he's probably got 3 strikers. Well, he probably definitely has 3 strikers. So yeah, I would make the move because I think 5-3-2 is the best formation in the game at the moment. And if you can get yourself to that structure and sell Broja for silver, I think that's a good move.
Yeah, again, it also, context there with how many transfers left, what he's got planned and stuff. But if you're just looking at it on face value, I think we're both in agreement. It's a good move should you want to go for that.
And then Matt SkyFF, it says, hello guys, currently has a back 5 that consists of Cancelo, Trent, Virgil van Dijk, Kilman and Gabriel. Yeah, fairly, he wants to get a Chelsea defender, but he's asking who would get the chop. No, I've got a similar problem. I already own a Chelsea. He's got he's got Cancelo, Trent, VVD, Kilman and Gabriel, and he's wondering who he should get rid of for a Chelsea.
Yeah, you go for it, Tom. You were.
I was just gonna say it really depends on the lineups for tomorrow's games. Really on the Thursday, I think if Kilman doesn't play, I'm gonna get rid of him for a Chelsea defender, and I can't even do it in one move. I'm gonna make a couple of moves to bring in a Chelsea defender and improve my midfield. So I would give Kilman the chop if you could, but to be honest, other than that, I probably wouldn't buy one with that defence because I think that defence is perfectly good enough.
So I'm just looking at the compressed snapshot of games. Now, Liverpool have got 3 fixtures. So I've pulled his defenders up and put them into FF stuff. Liverpool have got 3. Chelsea have got 4 really nice ones. Arsenal and Wolves have got 5. Now, Klopp came out with a little bit of a... Although I don't think he's going to rotate Van Dijk and Trent, but came out with a little bit about rotation, didn't he? A couple of days ago. Liverpool have got Brighton, Arsenal, Watford, then City. So the next 3, Brighton, Arsenal, Watford. Whereas Wolves have got Watford, Everton, Leeds, Villa, Newcastle. That's still some nice fixtures, and that's maybe what would... If Kilman's going to play, like you just said, Tom, is it just a leave? With
I think it is.
Captaincy there and a price.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Arsenal have got the 5 fixtures as well. Leicester, Liverpool, Villa, Palace, Brighton. You could argue Leicester, Liverpool, probably Villa. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet in any of them. But then you need Arsenal at some point for coverage, don't we? As captaincy coverage.
And they got, like you say, they got 5 games as well. So it's a tough one.
So if you had to take a defender, if I had to take one out at some point, it might well be that Liverpool defender. But I like what you said, Tom, which is, do you just leave it because it's pretty solid?
I'd personally, as long as you've got a captain for Thursday, because I don't, what we all say on paper, those Chelsea defenders are the best captains, right? You've got a Rafinha who plays Norwich, likes a Coutinho are playing Leeds, not Leeds, sorry, or that. I'm completely lost on the fixtures now.
No, it's Villa. Yeah, Villa Leeds.
Yeah, Coutinho's got Leeds.
Chelsea Norwich. It's Chelsea Norwich.
Thursday.
Yeah.
And Wolves Watford. So I think the fixtures are good enough.
Chelsea player, isn't it?
It is a Chelsea player, I suppose.
He's a Chelsea player. He doesn't have Rudiger, does he, Matt?
No, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't have Rudiger, no.
I would... like you said, I hate saying what I would say what I would do, which off the thinking off the top of my head would be a Liverpool defender out for Rudiger. I think you'd want one Chelsea player and then you stick the armband on him for that. I mean,
fair enough.
For that game. The annoying thing is, isn't it, that Chelsea play Norwich and then it's a shame you couldn't get another one out of VVD, or Trent or whoever, but.
So
I'd probably lose I'd lose Trent. I think if it's between he's got Trent and Van Dijk, isn't he?
I was about to ask you some questions that probably lead to that. I was just going to say I'd probably take out the 2 of those Liverpool defenders you think are less likely to play all the games, because Trent and Virgil van Dijk will score pretty much the same points. So there's nothing really to split them in terms of points. I'd pick the one that's less nailed, and Trent's also more expensive, isn't it? So it'd give you a bit of money in the bank as well. So probably Trent out of that lot.
I think Trent's got a massive... I mean, both of them have got a big haul of them, but I just think Trent's got that mega haul. But Van Dijk just ticks over really nicely, 10. Alexander-Arnold doesn't always get passing. I just don't know who he'd rest. I was trying to think. Who would come in at right back? Milner?
Probably.
Nico Williams is on loan. It's Trent pretty play, mate. I don't know.
Trent has had a rest, hasn't he, this season, I think.
He had a rest against Norwich, didn't he, Trent? Which is annoying for all us owners, but... I would be, but they end up conceding anyway, didn't they? I would be tempted for. He played Joe Gomez at right back actually, so yeah, I think he'll. Well, I don't know what Klopp will do, but I think if it was me, I would go Trent to probably Rudiger.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to
Stick
agree.
the armband on Rudiger Thursday night as long as he starts, and then go from there.
Yeah, I think that's sound advice. I can't add any more than that.
I don't
Bushy.
want Gabriel, by the way. I don't really want him. I'm just leaving him for what we just talked about.
I'm just lucky. I think circumstances in previous weeks meant that I had other fires to put out rather than buying him. And I'm just so glad that I didn't end up buying him because I wanted him, but yeah, like I said, just ended up not getting him, and that's one of the few transfers this season that have worked out in my favour, getting Saka over Gabriel so far.
But do you remember I jumped on him early, didn't I, from Kyle Walker? Man City were playing Spurs, I think, and Gabriel was against Arsenal were versus Brentford, and they conceded in the
Oh
93rd
God,
minute or
yeah.
something. And that's when I knew, oh, this Gabriel move might not be the one. But like I said, another season, bit more luck or whatever, that works, and you come away with 2 or 3 10-pointers.
Bushy FF asks us. I know you're going to say yes to this. He says, "Is Havertz a must-have asset now? He is starting ahead of Lukaku, or do we think that Havertz and Lukaku are too rotation risk, and yeah, they'll just be rotated? What do you think about Havertz?"
When I brought him in, and the same as Mount actually. So when I brought Havertz in fan team and Mount in Sky, it was always on the premise of quite short term, 4 games, 5 games, something like that. Havertz hasn't shown enough to me to be a nailed on fantasy football asset yet. So I think if you're bringing him in, it'll be on the premise of a punt, and that's what I told myself to avoid any disappointment when I brought both him and Mount in last game. So I definitely don't think he's nailed on. I do think he's rotation risk. I'd like to see how he performs from now to the end of the season. Can he stay fit? Will he stay in the team? Then we look at it again for next season. I do think he'll be a better player next season. He's one of those players. He was fantastic in the League Cup final against Liverpool, I think. That's what sort of made me bring him in on the other format. I think he's got huge potential, but right now it's kind of in that either punt or watch and wait and see what happens. Don't know what's your thoughts there, Tom.
Yeah, I completely agree. I wouldn't go near any Chelsea mids really, or Lukaku. I just wouldn't pick them. I'd just go for a defender instead and go for some other midfielders, to be completely honest. Because like you say, none of them are like completely nailed. They don't really get many bonus points. Yeah, they're a bit explosive, but yeah, it's just not the type of player I would usually pick.
No, when I brought Mount in, it was for that kind of 3 or 4 for 1 over Gallagher. I can't remember the exact what it was, but there was a considerable fixture gain, and the aim was potentially if I come away with 40 points or something fantastic, punts worked. If not, I still think it's a worthwhile transfer for the explosiveness, but then get back off them onto someone else. So yeah, I agree with you there, Tom.
The legend that is Brownie has asked us a couple of questions here. So he says, thoughts on the best current formation moving forward from now until end of the season. Yeah, he's saying 5-3-2 or 4-3-3, and yeah, it seems like the majority are going 5-3-2. I think personally there's so much value in those defenders, the passing bonus defenders. I think like I said, I want to try and sell Kilman to get in a Chelsea defender. I just want 5 big defenders. So
what would your obviously this is going to be a hard question to answer because you haven't got you need a bit of a long-term fixture sort of set, but what would your ideal 11 be right now? What would our little sort of like a Paul McNulty sort of style 11?
Yeah,
if you had an overhaul right now.
I tweeted it out earlier in the week, so I'll just try and find the photo, and then I'll talk through it. Have you got yours, mate? Because I'm just looking.
No, I haven't. I haven't got one. I think I could easily put one together, top of the head.
Yeah, I mean, you could have any goalkeeper really. Nick Pope, sorry, not Nick Pope, because you couldn't afford him with this team. But you could have Jose Sarr or Ramsdale in goal.
Yeah.
Cancelo, Laporte, Trent, Rudiger, Silva. I think that's the best defence. You've got 2 Man City defenders, Liverpool 1 in there, and a couple of Chelsea. Rafinha, Ramsey, and Saka. That's the 3 I picked, and then Salah and Kane up top. That's
Yeah,
my
it's
best team on
so
paper for
solid
me.
that. It's so solid. The only thing I think in there is the lack of Man City games, like two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think long term that's such a good side, and that's probably about right now. I think there could be a rationale for maybe a City defender out for someone else, but I think that's like 10 out of 11, bang on. And I think that formation 5-3-2 right now is golden.
Yeah, the only problem is it's not the most flexible, is it? Like once, like
Not
when Bowen got injured, for example, I was in trouble. I had to swap him for a midfielder. Thankfully, it worked out for me. But yeah, if a midfielder gets injured and you need to replace them, it can get a bit challenging. That's the only thing with a 5-3-2.
it's often two moves, isn't it? It's two big defenders out or something along those lines to get the players you want back in. Unless you've left kind of 3-4 million in the bank for something. But like you said, you have to then go to a midfielder. You can't have any less than three. So yeah, but it's the best. I think it's the best formation at the moment.
And then Brownie also asks us, I'm just trying to understand that question. Whilst others have taken advantage and gained rank by having a luxury of owning three strikers, could owning three strikers be the way forward and a potential difference between a low and very high season finish? So yeah, I guess like you're saying, the most popular formation is going to be 5-3-2. So if you go different and pick three strikers, yeah. I,
It's just who, isn't it? That's the question. It's just who.
I think everyone that's gone Son and Kane have obviously done quite well out of that. Will they continue it till the end of the season? I'm not too sure. I don't think Son, for example, will outscore even Rudiger, to be honest. I think it'd be pretty close between them. And yeah, exactly. I think it comes down to the question of who you're going to have.
Well, City haven't really got an out and out striker. Liverpool, Mane and Salah are both top goal scorers in the Premier League. That's probably something to think about. Mane's gone completely untalked about, probably because he's in Salah's shadow. But with a lack of striking options, I think he's a viable pick. Hence why I went Jota early in the season, and I felt very unfortunate with that because Jota got injured. So, he's a good option. He's a good option there. Chelsea, they've just, there's no one. I wouldn't be going anywhere near Lukaku. Newcastle, no. Tottenham's, there's obviously Son and Kane. Leicester, great fixtures, but Vardy's injured again. Do you take a punt? I mean, I know that you like Daka.
I do like Daka, yeah. I really, that's a good shout, to be fair. It's just whether he plays all the games, because I think with Leicester, I don't think we got a question about them, but the one point I'd make about Leicester, I heard this on another pod, I can't remember, it might have been the 3-for-1, but it's a very good point. I don't think they're going to get Europe through the Premier League anymore. So they're going to have to fully prioritise that Conference League. So I think we could, and Vardy's got injured as well, hasn't he? So I think Daka could even be prioritised for those games. So I just wouldn't go near any Leicester strikers at all, to be honest.
No, it's just too much in the air. Arsenal, Lacazette's been ticking over, all right, but not goals as such. It's just like a couple of assists here and there. Again, is he explosive enough versus having a big defender at the back who's just going to mop up 10 points a game? Probably not. DCL looks like he's fallen off. He's fallen off with Everton's form. Leeds, Bamford's out. West Ham, Antonio's not. I'm just going through the list here. There isn't really anyone else from Southampton, Broja or Shea Adams. So the options of a really good third striker are very limited. Son, Mane. Is that it, Tom? Son, Mane, or a Leicester boy?
I still like Broja as an option. I still like him.
But he's cheap. He's not explosive, though, is he? Well, he's just a cheap filler.
He is, yeah. And even like the likes of Dennis as well, right? I know Dennis, but yeah, he's so cheap as well. He's even cheaper than Ramsey at 5.5 million. If you stuck him in for the season and just left him, it's not the worst option.
There is two players actually that are worth keeping an eye on. And Steven Gerrard's changed the formation a little bit, hasn't he? He's had Dings and Danny Ings and Watkins up together, and they have looked. Did Danny Ings have 2 goals and assists last game?
Yeah, he did really well last game. Yeah.
Watkins has had a couple of goals, so that could. I mean, Watkins was great last season, so that could be your little potential punt on either of them. Again, you're doing it. If it was me, I'm doing it in expectation of 0. But if you do get a nice little run where they just pick up a couple of goals, assists, shots, bonus, man of the match, you've done really well out of it.
And the only caveat I'd give is if you pick a striker over like a Man City defender or a Chelsea defender, they need to score a goal pretty much every week in order to match them. So that's
And then you want bonus on top. You
yeah.
want shots bonus on top of that because City will get 100 passes. And that's why everyone comes back to triple Chelsea, double City, double Liverpool defence. I don't know if we've answered the question. We've certainly gone over
I don't think it's not a
the
yes or
pros
no
and
answer,
cons.
is it? Yeah, exactly.
No.
Exactly. So a question from Skeptic. I'll try not to butcher that name. Skeptic Dampier. Is doing Cancelo or Laporte to Coutinho tomorrow a good option, or should he save a transfer? He's got 16 transfers remaining, and his mini league rival has Coutinho. I think the bit of information that's missing is whether he's in front or behind his mini league rival. Because if you're chasing him, I'd probably do the opposite. But if you're trying to match him, he probably is trying to match him, isn't he, to buy Coutinho? Well, yeah. What do you think selling a City defender for Coutinho?
Was it me and you that were having a chat about Coutinho? I think it was me and Luke actually, and Luke sort of said, "Oh, we're thinking about bringing Coutinho in." I said to him, like Paul McNulty said in the past, he's a 2, 18, and it's just catching him on those 18s or 17s. Whereas the Cancelo or Laporte, 5 to 10 points every single game they play. So that's your problem, isn't it? Villa have got 5 games over City's 2, Tom. So Villa have got Leeds, West Ham, Arsenal, Wolves, and Tottenham in the time that Man City play Palace, Burnley. They play Palace and Burnley. So it's a 5 for 2. And if Cancelo's got COVID, which we don't know, that would be such an obvious move to Coutinho.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
If he was blocking.
It sounds like Skeptic owns both Cancelo and Laporte. So what I would say is potentially sell Cancelo for Coutinho, and then you've got Laporte as captain against Palace if you need a City player. He might not score as well as Cancelo, but he'll get passing bonus at least and be good enough. Yeah. So that's what I would generally. Yeah, I'd move Cancelo to Coutinho in that position, I think.
That's really solid. And if you think, will Coutinho outscore over 5, over Cancelo over 2, an injured Cancelo then, or a COVID Cancelo, definitely. But even if he's not, you think Coutinho could have another haul in him there somewhere and pick up another couple of 2s or 4s along the way as well. And just accumulation of volume would get him those points. So, yeah, it seems like a sound move if he's trying to block or whatever his plans are.
And yeah, when I put this together early in the day, this was a really good question to ask, but now it's not so much. SkyFF just asked us Reece James or Thiago Silva, but yeah, obviously the fact that Reece James is now injured, I think that's an easy decision, isn't it?
Yeah, he's not. I remember Liam saying it. He's not the greatest Sky player. He isn't because he doesn't pick up a lot of bonuses, but he's kind of a little bit Trent-esque, isn't he? Where he's explosive as hell, and so he can just get you like 4 or 5 games worth of bonuses in one match, and then essentially maybe a couple of 2s or whatever. But with him out injured again,
just go for Silva,
he played a bit of football, didn't he? He kind of played. Tuchel said something like he played another 70 minutes more or something that he wanted him to play against Liverpool. Is that right? With the
he overplayed him or whatever in the cup final, didn't he? And then he got injured. I think it was Weghorst that injured him apparently for Burnley as well. So yeah, it's just unfortunate. I hope that's not a trend with Reece James because I really like him as a player. I hope he can stay clear of injuries.
Yeah, I agree, mate. He's fantastic and he adds a real good element into the fantasy game as well because he's so explosive and so good.
Ben, our good mate Ben, asks us, who do you prefer to cover the Arsenal singles, Gabriel or Saka? You know what my answer's going to be. I won't even say it.
I'm the same as you. I'm Saka. I like the look of Odegaard as well. Martinelli and Lacazette wouldn't put me off either. So all their attacking assets I really like. I think Saka comes out number 1. In my eyes, but Martinelli, Odegaard, fairly close behind.
And then good mate Steve Wright asks us, he's in a 5-3-2 and he needs to move Bowen on. He doesn't own Rafinha, so he's asking, is it an easy swap or should we go for someone like Saka? I'm just looking at the fixtures, and in my head, how the fixtures land, I think he's probably better off getting Saka, isn't he? Because he can captain
Yeah, I'm
Saka
just pulling it
against
up.
Villa.
Just bear with me. I'm just pulling it up now. Who's he?
So he's got to get rid of Bowen.
He likes to look of either Rafinha or right. Let's have a look. So Arsenal and Leeds have both. Yeah, I mean West Ham have got 4 games. Obviously Bowen potentially injured. They've got Villa, Tottenham, Everton, Brentford. Arsenal have got Leicester, Liverpool, Villa, Palace, and Brighton. Leeds have got Villa, Norwich, Wolves, Southampton, Watford. I mean, Rafinha's a good shout on a new manager bounce, but he hasn't been fantastic, has he? I wouldn't be looking to bring him in, but I would fully expect he'll get a couple of returns over the next few weeks. My personal thinking would be along your thinking, Tom, which is probably the Saka or Odegaard, Martinelli route.
I think for me, it all depends what coverage he's got as well, because I'm just looking at the fixtures. So I thought the Arsenal single was before the Leeds one, but it so happens that Leeds have got Wolves in a single day on Friday the 18th. Then Arsenal play Villa on Saturday the 19th.
Yes.
So if you don't have a Wolves player, I would buy Rafinha. But if I did have a Wolves player, I would probably buy Saka. That's my thinking.
Well answered, mate, because that would cover captaincy.
Yeah, hopefully that helps you there, Steve. And then Dave, simple goal. I keep saying this whenever he asks us a question. It really should be us asking him questions because he's absolutely flying this season. To be honest, I think we covered it, but he said, what do you think about Silva over Rudiger or even picking Mendy in a chain? You want to take that one, mate?
Mendy's a good shout at the moment. Again, like we talked about earlier, I think if Chelsea are still trying to cement kind of top 3 or 4, just get it solid, get it solidified. Mendy's a great shout. He's a great goalkeeper. 9 points for a clean sheet now, isn't it? It's just if it fits in with his team structure, I think that's a really wise move. I think Rudiger's more nailed than Thiago Silva. In fact, definitely, yeah. And really nicely priced. I sort of feel like Rudiger is almost a must. I think that's the way I think of him. Is like he's kind of a glue player, and then who you bring in alongside that. Mendy, the same for me. I'll put Mendy and Rudiger in the same kind of category. Before I actually made my error, I was actually going to leave Tillman in and get Mendy in goal and have Mendy and Rudiger instead of Rudiger and Thiago Silva because I just thought Thiago Silva will get a benching at some point or a couple of benchings just to be preserved. So I like Mendy as a shout. And I think Rudiger's kind of a glue player. Dave could bring him in and leave him to the end of the season. And then it's just how adventurous Dave is in terms of the thinking on Thiago Silva as well. Because we know he's a Rolls Royce, high passes. As you said, Tom, man of the match potential, goal scoring potential. He's got a nice up ceiling.
Yeah, I think I only own Thiago Silva at the moment, and I'm quite nervous about it. I really want to buy Rudiger, so I think that helps you with your Silva over Rudiger question. I think it's Rudiger or both, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then if you have both, if you know Thiago Silva is playing, I think Thiago Silva is a better captain on the day. If you want to captain a Chelsea player, I think that's as far as my opinion goes. Then as for Mendy, I wouldn't personally pick him, just because I think there are better keepers in the game, and quite a lot of them have all got single game days as well. So if you wanted to make a keeper transfer, I think someone like Sarr or Ramsdale or Dubravka even for his single against Everton are probably better.
But if he's got it covered off already, then I think if I was to bring Mendy in, it would be as a 3 because I'd prefer Silva probably now before Mendy.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's Rudiger first, then it's Thiago Silva, and then maybe if you want in that block Chelsea defense, then it's Mendy. But I actually think, Tom, that Mendy is a transfer waiting to happen. So I agree what you're saying there with maybe like a Ramsdale, who he's going to be able to leave him in all season and cover captaincy.
And I think what we said about keepers as well, when we look to those points per game per million, Alisson is top of the list at the moment. So I just think there's so many goalkeeper options at the moment that are better than Mendy, personally. And that's it. Loads of questions. Thanks everyone for sending them in. And yeah, thanks for watching. That's the end really. Anything else to say from yourself, Sam?
No, it was a great pod, that one. Yeah, buzzing. It's good.
Yeah, nice one.
Getting to getting to the meat and potatoes of the season now, aren't we? Hopefully, Dave can. Be great to see Dave sort of continue on and hang on in there and be in and around that sort of prize money towards the end of the season.
Yeah, nice one. And good luck to everyone else this week as well. And yeah, if you enjoyed what you saw, leave us a like rating and subscribe to our channel. To see more of our content. Cheers, everyone.
Thanks, guys.